friends, Lori here. This is me in the future telling you what this reading vlog is going to be about. So, hi, this is going to be my second to last reading vlog of the year. This reading vlog, I'm focusing on reading The Trials of Apollo by Rick Riordan. This is the final and concluding novel in his Trials of Apollo series. It is also his concluding novel, wrapping up all of the Percy Jackson books, which at this point is like 15 reads, but also like the subsequent series that kind of all tie together. So, throughout this reading vlog, it did get spoilery. So if you have not read this series or you have not read this book yet, you may not want to read it. I tried to be less spoilery, but it does kind of go there a little bit. Nothing like major, but if you want to read the series and haven't read it yet, maybe put off reading this reading vlog. I'll put it in the cards as well. There are a couple of points in this book that I kind of say things and I kind of try to spoil warning you guys, but just as a note, I actually had to refilm this intro because I thought this reading vlog was going to be something different. But I hope you guys like this reading vlog of me reading The Tower of Nero. Also, let me know in the comments if you guys would be interested in seeing more spoiler reading vlogs. I don't do them very often because I never know if me and you read the same exact things. But if there's any books that you want to see me in 2021 do a spoiler reading vlog for, put them in the comments below and I'll try to add them to my filming docket for 2021. And I'll see you guys for the next clip. Bye. I'm back. It is 9:01 on December 28th. I didn't wind up reading anything last night. I wound up watching Into the Woods, which was the musical movie that came out 2 years ago. I really like that movie. I forgot how much I enjoyed that. I didn't get to watch another movie because I wound up playing Animal Crossing last night, talked to a friend, so I didn't get to watch everything that I wanted. But I am going to take the next hour and I'm going to play Animal Crossing. I'm trying to get better at that. I'm going to work out, and I'm going to take my Skillshare class. So hopefully that will take about an hour to do those couple of things. Animal Crossing will probably take the most amount of time, but I definitely want to work out as well. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to go do my Skillshare class. It's about bullet journaling, and I'm having mixed feelings about bullet journaling, and I don't know if I want to do bullet journaling or another type of journaling. So I'm going to go do that, work out. I'm going to go for a bike ride later because it's supposed to be very, very pretty out. And then I'll probably play Animal Crossing for a little bit. And then I am going to dive into Tower of Nero. So when I'm about to start Tower of Nero, I'll probably check in with you guys and give you guys a time check. So I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. I'm just got done. I did half of my workout. It's a very, very hard workout, so I did half of that. Played Animal Crossing. I took my Skillshare class. I'm probably going to read for about an hour. It's 10:15, so I'll probably read until 11:30. Probably gonna eat, so I'll probably check in with you guys when I read the first 50 pages of Tower of Nero. I'm gonna decide pretty quickly if this is gonna be a spoiler reading vlog or a non-spoiler reading vlog. It might be spoiler just because I feel like I'm gonna want to talk about this part of it. So I'm gonna go read. I'll read about 50 pages and then I'll give you guys an update and we'll also give you guys a time check. I do definitely want to go for a bike ride today and I want to do another workout, but off to reading I go. I said this in my last clip last night. This book is probably going to kill my emotions, so I'm prepared for that, but talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Right here, I'm back. I did actually read about 25 pages in The Tower of Nero. It definitely takes me a little while to get back into the story. It's been a while since I read book 4 in this series, but you're basically following, for those that don't know, you're basically following Apollo. In the first book, he was transformed back into a teen, and 5 books follow him as he's trying to save the oracles from existence, or from being killed, I think. And at the end of every book, you get a new character. A new character finds their way in. Book 1 was Percy. I think book 2 was Grover. Book 3 was Leo. Book 4, I think there was a character that came in book 4. I think they went to Camp Jupiter in book 4, so we got to see Hazel and Frank, and this book kind of ties the whole series together. I really like the Leo book. Leo was definitely one of my favorite characters in that series. I'm actually planning a reread of the entire Percy Jackson series next year in 2021. I haven't announced it anywhere yet, but I'm going to do that just personally for myself, and I'll kind of take you guys along for the ride. But I read about 25 pages. They are on a train in New York City, which I am so familiar with. I take the Long Island Railroad every single day. I take the subways every single day. So it's been a while since I took the subways so consistently. So it's been nice to go back. But Meg is encountering a figure from her past that is connected with her stepfather. So I'm going to take a little bit of a reading break. I'm going to go for a bike ride because it's supposed to be pretty out, and I enjoy my pretty days outside when I can because there's so few in the winter. So I'm also going to take my audiobook with me and try to tackle a little bit more of that. I definitely do want to work out later. I didn't love the workout that I did, so I'm going to probably do another one. So yeah, I will update you guys when I come back from my bike ride, and then we will dive back in to Tower of Nero. Bye, guys. Hey, it's Laura here, just checking back in. Sorry, my lighting is a little bit weird. But I did wind up going for a bike ride, and I wound up reading up to page 35 in The Tower of Nero by Rick Riordan. We're getting right into the story. This is the final book in this series, and it's also the final book in the overall story, which is about 15 books. I feel like this section is probably going to be spoiler filled. So just be mindful of that. But Percy Jackson is coming back into the story, which is happy. He was in the first book, and I think we saw him a couple of times in the other books. But I love him as a character, so it's really important to me that he gets some closure, and so does Annabeth. This book is also set in New York City right now. The other books have kind of spread throughout the whole gamut of being in where Leo was, and then it was in California. I don't remember where the last book was. But they were all different settings that were important to the series. So I really like that this book isn't back in New York. Whenever I think of Percy Jackson, I either think of New York or Camp Half-Blood. Like, those are the two settings that I really, really love. And because my time in New York City for the past year has been so weird due to COVID, it's nice to just read a book that's like realistic New York and, without the monsters and everything. But I also did buy a new game on my Switch. I really have wanted to play actual video games. The only thing I really play is Animal Crossing. But there's really no, it's just like a fun game to play. So I decided to buy a new game, and I'm going to see if I can play it. I've never beat any video games, in my life. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break, maybe a 20-minute break, and just try to play a little bit of that. I don't even know the name of the game, but it was cheap. It was 75% off. Before I go in and buy any other games, I'm going to play that one. So I'm going to play that for a little bit, and then I'm going to dive in and just try to tackle the rest of it. I'll probably take the next hour off. I'm going to play a little bit of Mario, and then I'm going to do my workout. I wasn't that pleased with my first workout this morning, so I'm going to do another one, I think. So I'm going to go play a little bit more. I'm going to go play my new Mario game, workout, and then I'll probably come back and give you guys a check-in on how I felt about that new game. And then I'm going to dive back into and reading Tower of Nero. But I am intrigued enough to keep reading. I know this book's going to be a little bit of a harder read, but I tend to fly through these book series just because it's such a good world building that it's kind of captured me. But I'm going to go play for a little bit more, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Hi guys, Laura here. It's about 2 o'clock. I did wind up working out. I played a little bit of my new Mario game. Not sure that I love it, but it was only $11. So we'll see how I feel about that the next time I play. But I did a better workout, which I was happy with, which was kickboxing. Now I'm going to dive in, finish watching Peru's Projects vlog. I still have let's look. I keep adding videos because people are posting a lot because it's the week off. Still have 111 left that I still need to watch. I'm going to make that my priority to finish a lot of those today because I really have nothing better to do. So I'm on page 35 where we're about to meet Percy again. Percy is one of my favorite characters, second only to Leo, who is another fan favorite. I did get my sticky notes. I'm trying to get better at annotating books, but also I'm just trying to get better at writing down quotes that I like, and that's going to be a project in my journal next year. So yeah, that's my plan of attack. I'm going to check in with you guys when I get to page 50, and I'll give you guys my thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Lori here. I am back. It's about 3:15. I did wind up getting up to page 74 in the Tower of Nero. It's so funny, looking back on this series and seeing when you first met Apollo, back at the start of this series. You did see him in the subsequent series, but he was a god, and just seeing how much he changed from book 1 to this book is so dramatic. You know, I'm growing to really like him as a character, and I'm just loving like how this book is really connecting so many things. Like, you know, we're seeing other locations. We're going back to New York. It reminds me of being in the last Percy Jackson book, that one, because that one, the big battle was set in New York. But it's such a good world. I just love how the whole world and the whole series really came together. And now they're going back to Camp Half-Blood, which, again, as I said, is another one of my favorite settings. I'm just really curious, like, how this book is gonna develop, because it's so different from the other books, like in the other series, because Apollo is such a different character. I did wind up downloading Mario Odyssey because it was recommended, so I did download that. I'm also watching a couple of my older YouTube videos that I have to watch, but I'm going to take a little bit of a reading break, go get something to eat, and then I'm going to come back and probably read a little bit more. I really hope to tackle a majority of this book today. Again, I have, let me see, I'll give you a video check-in. I have about 114 videos to watch for my YouTube queue, which I want to finish before the end of the year, but I keep adding to it, so it's probably a lot less than that, but I just keep adding when they're posted, because everyone's doing, like, Bookmas and end of the year stuff, so I actually have to film a few videos for my own, but I want to finish this and maybe Blood and Honey before I decide to do that, so take a little bit of a mental break, and then I will come back and I will read about 50 more pages or get to at least page 100, and then I'll probably update you guys, but I am really liking it. I struggled a little bit with the Burning Maze. I think that was the last one in the series, was it? I feel like it was the Burning Maze, but let me look. Oh no, it's the Tyrant's Tomb. I struggled a little bit with the Tyrant's Tomb. That was the aftermath, because at the end of, spoiler alert, at the end of the Burning Maze, one of, like, the lead characters was killed, which is, like, the first time that ever happened in a Percy Jackson book, like, a big character, and the Tyrant's Tomb was a harder read. It was dealt a lot with grief for a lot of the characters. It was an important story, though. It just wasn't my favorite, but I'm just really liking this one. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break, and I will update you guys when I can. But talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. It's Laura here. I just took a little bit of a break. I played a little bit of Mario Odyssey. But I'm still on page 74. So I'm about to dive back in. We are about to go visit Camp Half-Blood, which, as I said in a lot of my previous clips in this vlog, is perhaps one of my favorite settings in the whole Percyverse. So I'm really excited to see what happens. I am really liking this book a lot. I feel like it's a culmination of, like, a lot of things. I'm also really excited because 2020, we're possibly getting a Percy Jackson TV show, which I'm really excited about. Again, I really liked the musical. I struggled a little bit with the movie, but I always say that because it's not perfect, and Rick Riordan was not really involved in the movie, as he has repeatedly told us. So I'm hopeful that the TV show will do what I want it to. And I also just want to support artists or authors that are doing the right thing. And he definitely is. He is amazing. He's one of the authors that I would love to meet again in person. I met him once. And I gave the signed book I got from that to one of my students. But really, really excited to keep reading. Yeah, so I'm going to read a little bit more, and then I'm going to get some dinner. So when I read about 50 more pages, I'll probably update you guys. Again, I do want to talk spoilers, but I definitely am going to keep reading. So I'll check back with you guys when I can. Bye. It's Laura here, just checking back in. Ooh, it's later than I thought. It's 6:40. I did wind up getting up to page 107 in the Tower of Nero. We have finally met up with a couple of characters that we haven't seen in a while. The one thing I love about the Percy Jackson world is that you have so many characters to pull from. So it makes sense to me that this book will be the last one, because you're kind of getting a bunch of characters. Nico, this is going to be the spoiler part of the vlog, but we got to see Nico again. And he is always a super complicated character. He's not my favorite, but he's up there because I think his diversity and his representation was really groundbreaking when the book first came out. So I thought that I think seeing him again and his boyfriend is just amazing. And this book feels like a warm hug because you see all these characters, and also stuff happened in earlier books. It still has like a callback point. There's something very, very traumatic happen in the end of book 3 in this series. And all the characters in other ways are kind of learning about that, and they're kind of dealing with it. So grief is always been a very strong element in this book, but I feel like in this book there is a lot of grief talking, and I'm sure by the end we'll have even more grief elements. But again, super strong. I'm about 100 pages in. I didn't read a lot today, honestly. Like, I'm hopeful that I can still finish this before Wednesday so I could film my end of the year. But this book is very, very strong so far. So I'm gonna go read a little bit more. I'm gonna read about another 50 pages. I normally read about 50 pages and then I update you guys. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna read about another 50 pages and then I'll update, unless I feel like I need to update you guys again. Again, this will be the spoiler part of the vlog. If I wind up reading 2 books or not, we will decide in the future. But I'm gonna go back to reading and I'll update you guys when I can. Bye. Lori here. I just want to pop in and say that I did read a little bit more. I'm not on page 150 yet, but they did finally do the thing I've been wanting to do. They finally connected the 2 series. They finally collected the much underwhelmed, underhyped Egyptian series. They finally made mention of it in this book. And it's funny because the Magnus Chase series, which again is also loosely tied to this because Magnus is Annabeth's cousin, that was made painfully obvious. And I guess like there was novels tying these 2 worlds together, but there was like a minor tie-in to the house in Brooklyn, and I'm just happy about that. I love everything Rick Riordan writes, and I love those tie-in novels, but it's nice that there's just like a little bit of a more of a tie-in that connects that series back. I think that out of all of Rick Riordan's series, that Egyptian series was the least loved because it deals with a mythology that's like not as popular. That's again a series I really, really want to reread. Maybe I'll do like a whole Rick Riordan reread. It's gonna take me a while because there's like a lot of books, but it's been a while since I reread it. I think I read every book like once. So again, that's a project for 2021. But I was just happy to see that little moment. Who knows? Maybe we'll see the characters again. I don't know. But we'll see. So I'm gonna keep reading and I'll report back on more plot stuff when we get to 150. Lori here, just checking back in. It is about 8:30. I did wind up getting up to page 150 in The Tower of Nero. I like when we have a big cast of characters. I've always said this. I think Percy Jackson is probably the reason why I like it so much because you have so many different point of view characters and so many different characters to follow. And this one's a little bit more different than the second series he wrote because you only have Apollo's point of view. But I like middle grade like battle sequences. I've said this before. I sometimes struggle with like adult battle sequences because they're not as engaging to me. But Rick Riordan writes those battle sequences so well, I'm immediately captivated. So I'm gonna actually try to read like about 50 more pages, maybe a little bit more, because I would love to finish to make some progress on this for the rest of the evenings. And I didn't really get to read a lot today. So I'm going to try to read a little bit more and then I'll update you guys. But I'm just loving the battle stuff. I'm loving that we have one of my personal favorite side characters back. So yeah, I really like that. And I'm going to go back to reading and hopefully the rest of my favorites pop up. I have 2 characters I'm definitely waiting to see in this book. Hope that they appear, but we have quite a few pages left. So off I go. Bye guys. Hey friends, Lori here. It's 9:31. I did wind up getting up to page 179 in The Tower of Nero. Still really enjoying it, but I feel like I'm probably going to stop reading for the evening. I'm going to go find something to watch. I might watch Mary Poppins or Mulan. It's only 9:30. Again, I don't think I drank enough water today, which is always a problem. I don't know what it is. I really have to get better at drinking more water. Makes me a little bit out of sorts. I also played video games today and it probably messed with my head a little bit. But I do hope to finish this book tomorrow. This is probably just going to turn into a Tower of Nero reading vlog because I think I'm going to have too much footage. So I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. We'll talk about what I read. What I watched tonight, and then we will dive back into the Tower of Nero tomorrow. I am going to make this a priority for tomorrow. Hopefully I can finish a majority of it because I have a bunch of filming I need to do for the end of the year that I really want to do on Wednesday. But for me to do that filming, I need to finish this. So I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. Bye. Hey guys, Laurie here, I'm back. Sorry, I just woke up. I actually didn't wind up watching anything last night. I kept wanting to watch something, and then I realized it was so late, and by the time I was done with everything, it was 10, 11, and I was like, I don't want to start watching a movie. So I didn't. But what I am going to do today is I am going to do a Skillshare class. I'm going to go work out, and then I'm just going to dive into Tower of Nero. That is my goal, is to finish that book today. I got down my YouTube queue to 100 videos, which I think is definitely doable to finish today, watching. And my goal is to finish Tower of Nero today and finish my YouTube queue. There was a lot of videos that I just didn't wind up watching yesterday because tomorrow is the day before New Year's Eve. And I have a bunch of stuff I have to get done. I have to get a bunch of filming done tomorrow. I have to start thinking about my planner. So tomorrow is going to be a very, very busy day. So today is going to be more my relaxing day. I'm definitely going to try to work out today. I'm going to try to play a little bit of Animal Crossing and Mario Odyssey today, just as a little bit of a break. But my first priority is to work out, do my Skillshare class, and then tackle the Tower of Nero. So was not super successful with my video watching, but that's okay. So I'm gonna go do my Skillshare class, go work out, and then I'll check in with you guys. Bye. It's Laurie here. I'm back. I just wound up playing a little bit of Animal Crossing and a little bit of Mario Odyssey. I'm sort of stuck in Mario Odyssey, which always tends to happen. So I'm gonna give it a little bit of a break. But I did wind up listening to quite a bit of, at 45 minutes of The Lost Book of the Wight by Cassie Clare, which was my audiobook. I am really enjoying it. I was hoping to sneak in a bike ride today, but I might just go on the bike in my house. So, but now I am going to dive back into Chapter 18 of the Tower of Nero. This is going to be my priority read for the day. I will give you guys a number count on my YouTube queue, which I still have 102 videos in. I got it down to 98 last night, but I think I added a couple this morning. So I'm going to go head back to watching, and I'll update you guys when I read about 50 more pages, or actually when I get up to page 200, because that'll be a quicker update, and I think I'm going to want to keep talking. So I'll update you guys when I read about 30 more pages. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Just checking back in. It's about 10:42. I did want to reaching my goal of reaching 200 pages, which is what I wanted to do last night, but I just got a little bit tired. But I really am I love Rick Riordan's writing style. I've always liked it. I always think he writes about more things than you think. And I said this before when I was reading his other subsequent series, but as a book series, he always talks about a lot of issues, and I think what I like to see in fantasy series is groups of people forced to work together, or populations of people forced to work together, because it just shows that even though we are so different, there are still things that connect us. And I think that in this book, the end of the world is coming and people need to work together, and I like how Rick Riordan does that. I like how Rick Riordan plays both sides of it, makes it so complicated, but then you're also in Apollo's point of view, who has lived as a god for many, many years, has been stuck in this kid's body, and has transformed over 5 books. So you see also his funny narration that kind of gives credence to both sides, especially him as a character. I just really like it. I'm just so happy that I picked this book up. It's great. I'm about halfway done. So I'm going to read about 50 more pages unless something true. I'm still just waiting for characters to show up, because I do know that it's the last book in a series. So I'm in the whole series as a whole. So I'm hopeful we will see a bunch more characters, but my goal is to definitely finish this book today. So I'm going to read about 50 more pages and then I'll give you guys an update, but I don't know how this book's going to end. I mean, I have some thoughts, but I'm just curious. So I'm going to go back to reading and I'll give you guys an update when I can. Bye. Hey, Laura here, just checking back in. I did wind up getting up to page 253 in the Tower of Nero. We are right at the climax. Like, we're right, it's in like the last 24, well, not even 24 hours. At this point, we're down to like 3 hours in the rest of the book. But I'm really enjoying it. I think Apollo has come so far since book 1. In book 1, if you would have asked me, I said I would really have not liked his character. But he has come so far, especially in the aftermath of the death that kind of shook this series. It really affected him, like, dramatically. And that was not something I was expecting. Like, honestly, like, I didn't think he would care that much, but he really did. And I think you're really seeing that. You're also seeing him having to rely on people he wouldn't necessarily rely on to kind of, like, save the day. And this is a humongous cast of characters. We're talking about 15 books. So there's a lot of characters to play with. And overall, I really liked how Rick Riordan kind of gave each character its due in a book. So, like, every book kind of had a character that kind of made an appearance. Like, we had Leo in one, we had Percy in one, we had Grover in one, we had, Jason and Piper in one. So I think every character kind of had its due. So I'm just curious how he's going to, like, tie all that stuff together. But the villain in this book or in this series was so well crafted. It really is probably one of my favorite villains that they had. Like, he's just so evil, and the relationship that Paolo and Meg have is really unique and really different, but also Meg's relationship with the villain is also really unique and super strong. So I'm gonna read about, or like, just different. It's like, it's like an abusive father element, and I think that Rick Riordan did that super well. Also, we get to see Nico again, who is definitely a fan favorite for me. So I'm gonna read about 50 more pages, and then I'm gonna update you guys. This book is like 416 pages, and I'm on page 250. So I'm making some progress on it. Trying not to rush it, but I will check in with you guys when I read about 50 more pages. Bye, guys. I just had to pop in. I just had to read this quote. So this will be a little bit of a spoiler, but I felt like this quote was could super be applicable to 2020, and I just wanted to read it. It is pretty far through in the Tower of Nero, so if you don't want any quote spoilers, you may just not want to watch this clip, but I really just wanted to read it because it really was impactful to me, especially in such like a hard and challenging year. This quote really like struck me. How could someone twist the truth with such presentity, telling you the exact opposite of what was clear and obvious, and still sound like they believed what they were saying? How could you defend against lies that were so blatant and brash that they should require no challenge? I just thought that quote was so like applicable to 2020, and I really liked it, and it's definitely going to be one of my favorite quotes of the year. And I just, so ironic. I don't know, like, it's funny. It's funny sometimes when you read books that obviously they're written like years in advance, possibly like a year and a half in advance. But sometimes the quotes I was reading in these books were really becoming so prevalent to like the applicable of life with COVID and stuff like that, and I just found that quote to be very sounding. So if you're looking for it yourself, it's on 284 of the Tower of Nero. This book is definitely starting to tug at my heartstrings, especially in regards to Apollo, quite a bit. But I'll have to give you guys a further update when I get up to page 300. I'm almost there, but I'm just getting so nervous for all my characters. This always happens in a bigger series, like the Percy Jackson series. But this is especially a concerning book because every character is literally on the line. Like, he's not necessarily going to come back and write in this world again. So any character pretty much can be their game over. And I'm getting a little bit nervous for some of my characters because I do have quite a few favorites. Haven't seen all my favorites yet. I wonder if they're going to make an appearance or if they're not going to make an appearance. But I will definitely check back when I get up to page 300. You're checking back in. I do want to getting up to page 300, and we are right at the tail end of the story. We have about 100 pages left. I am really curious how it's going to end. Like, they always when I read Rick Riordan books, they always get touched, like, put in a really inconvenient location, and I always don't know how they're gonna like get out of that said situation. This one involves like a couple of different things, but there's one thing that Nero is trying to do that will basically decimate New York City, which happens a lot in these books. Like it happened at the end of two different series, but there's a lot more stakes in this because I know it's the last book for a while, but also how far Apollo has come. Normally a character's growth doesn't really like dictate the stakes of a story because you always want to save the world, but you have seen Apollo since he was back in book 1 and how like unin like he just gods don't care about humans, but now he really does. So it's just interesting seeing this book through Apollo's point of view because it really does dictate how you view the story. And it's also super interesting because the majority of the characters we love and met in this series isn't really here. So you're really relying on Apollo's point of view, and you have Nico and you have a couple of other characters, but I'm starting to think that maybe we won't get all the cameos I'm thinking, and I don't know. I would have liked to see them again, but it's okay if we don't. But I'm going to keep reading. I'll give you guys an update when I have about 50 pages left, and then I'm going to go tackle the rest of this. So I will talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Hey guys, Laurie here. It's about 2:39. I did wind up getting up to page 335, but we are literally at the tail end of this book. Like we're in the final battle, I'll say. The one thing I'm going to look forward to when I reread this whole series, but all three of them combined, is that it's going to be a lot easier for me to keep my plots together because these become like a year and a half apart, and I normally don't read them that fast. So, I mean, this story is incredible, but I feel like once I reread it in a shorter time span, I will probably enjoy it a lot better because there's a lot of little stuff that happened in like the first book, and there's really like two major villains in this book. So, we're at the tail ends of the story. It's really good, really interesting, super character driven, and I really like that. I think with a story like this, with such a complicated group of characters, it really is a heartfelt story about Apollo and about the godhood. I really am excited next year to dive into Alexandra Bracken's standalone book, Lore, because that is like another Greek mythology inspired read. That I'm really excited for. I actually put it down because I wanted to start it actually in 2021 because that will probably be a favorite of the year. But yeah, I really am liking this book. I'm at the tail end. I really feel for Apollo in this book. I've I'm it didn't have as many as of right now, as many character cameos as I wanted. I'll be honest because I know this is the last book we'll ever get. So I'm hopeful maybe they'll pop up towards the end, but that is why I'm really excited to reread the series in 2021. It was such a good, it feels like coming home. Like I used to say that about Harry Potter. Harry Potter is like coming home with Harry, Ron, Hermione, those characters. But again, this series is another one that I've read not as long because I've read Harry Potter for a much longer time, but I think the diversity in this and the acceptability of the author is still a big thing to me, and I would recommend Rick Riordan to anyone. I really am excited for the TV show outcoming, and I just think his diversity and what he has put into these books and the imprint he created really expand middle grade readership in general, and I think that that's something that we should be applauding. And I really like him as an author. So I'm going to go get a little bit of a snack, and then I'm going to probably tackle the end of this. If I feel like there's something spoilery to say, I'll probably pop back in. But if not, you'll probably see me at the end. So I'll be back. Bye. Laurie here, I'm back. I did wind up finishing The Tower of Nero. I just finished it. I found some more quotes I'm going to probably put in my new journal that I made. But I'm going to give myself a couple of minutes. I'm going to take a shower, kind of think about it. I'm still going to think if this is my favorite in the series, if it's going to go on my top books of the year list, and we will kind of touch base because at this point, I don't think I'm going to read anything else that will go on those lists, which means I can start filming those videos. But overall, I really like this. I'm going to kind of give myself ahead, like a little bit of like a mental break to just kind of think about it, but I'm really impressed with it. I think it was I'm just sort of thinking how my thoughts. I think for a series finale, it was great. as someone that loves these characters, I wanted more of a big battle, but then I think it really didn't need that. So like fan servicey for me, it wasn't my ideal ending because I love the character so much. But overall, for the character of Paulo, I think it was a solid ending. And I'll kind of talk a little bit more spoilers at the end because this definitely was a spoiler reading vlog. And yeah, so I'm gonna go do a few little things and then I'm gonna kind of come up and wrap up this reading vlog for you guys because it became a Tower of Nero reading vlog, and that's okay. All right, I'll be back in a bit. Bye. Hey friends, Laura here. I'm actually here to wrap up this reading vlog. So, I wound up finishing reading The Trials of Apollo, The Tower of Nero, which will be the final book in the Percy Jackson world as of right now. I think he said it's like official, he's not writing anymore in this world, but I have to admit, this was such a bittersweet read because I really liked it. I thought it was a great conclusion. Lester has so grown, or Apollo, I guess, has so grown on me as a character in this read. And I just loved seeing him grow up. I thought this was a very, very solid conclusion novel. Like, again, it'll definitely make my top reads of the year for sure because I just thought the conclusion was so effective. Um, in regards to like a complete 15 book series wrap up, I don't think any book will do that for me because there's so many characters and so many elements in these books that are going to be hard to distill to like one chapter at the end. I think it didn't it all the characters weren't represented the way that I wanted them to be. But again, I also have to remember that this book was really about Apollo and Apollo's journey. Um and throughout the series, you did touch into all like these characters. You saw a little bit of Percy in one of the books. You saw a little bit of Leo. You saw a little bit of Jason had another drama thing. But again, you saw all the characters, just not in this book. So I feel like everyone was wrapped up. But there was no like, again, spoilers. I'm gonna put spoilers on this whole reading vlog. There was no big battle sequence with everybody that kind of concluded like the Heroes of Olympus series, but I really liked it. I thought it was great. So I'm actually going to wrap up this reading vlog and go start my end of the year reading vlog. But yeah, I definitely think you guys should definitely check out, start with the first book, but if you were hesitant to pick up this series, I think it's a great one and it is just a spectacular read. So hope you guys are staying safe and being well, and I'll talk to you guys soon.